stones and good taste. It's a super story. This is super story. This is super story. This is super.
Worried by the deteriorating financial condition of states, federal government to constitute an interministerial committee to study the nation's fiscal structure.
Tourism also has the capacity to assist the world inhabitants to live better together and thereby contribute to peaceful coexistence between peoples and cultures.
Experts in culture and tourism industry converge in Abuja to discuss strategies for exploring the huge potentials in the sector. Senate to conduct public hearing on the killings in Enugu.
This exercise is also intended to raise awareness on the importance of regular medical checks.
I am committed to the health and well-being of women and children. This is coming from Mrs. Aisha Buhari. A very good evening and thanks for joining us on the NTA Network News for tonight. I am Fumi Wakama. The federal government says a multinational task force will soon be established to patrol the waters of the Gulf of Guinea. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this in an audience with the French Minister of Defense. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has that report.
President Muhammadu Buhari and the French Minister of Defense, Jean-Yves Le Drian, discussed the support by the French government for the federal government's efforts towards addressing the nation's challenges of security, especially the Boko Haram insurgency. The president said the multinational task force, when established, will augment the task of improving security in the Gulf of Guinea and curb piracy and crude oil theft. He expressed Nigeria's appreciation to France and other G7 countries for the significant successes achieved against Boko Haram through their support. President Buhari said Nigerian troops are now operating in the Sambisa forest in the renewed determination by the country to effectively secure all parts of its territory. The French Defense Minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian, assured President Buhari that France will continue to assist Nigeria in whatever way possible to overcome Boko Haram. He said all terrorists must be seen as common enemies of the free world. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
An interministerial committee expected to study the fiscal restructuring plan for the Federation will soon be constituted by the federal government in a deliberate attempt to improve state government finances. President Muhammadu Buhari, who announced this at a meeting with the Nigerian Governors Forum, described as worrisome hardship being faced by state government workers and their families due to non-payment of salaries, despite the federal government bailout funds. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
It is a fact that despite the bailout funds by the Buhari administration, nearly two-thirds of the states of the Federation are having difficulties with the payment of workers' salary. This meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Nigeria Governors Forum, therefore, is aimed at finding solutions to the funding problems of the various states to enable them fulfill their constitutional responsibilities. President Muhammadu Buhari, who described the situation as a matter of great concern, promised that the federal government will strive to make more funds available to the states. This, he said, is by expediting action on refunds due to states for the maintenance of federal roads and other expenses incurred on behalf of the federal government. President Buhari said although the federal government also has funding problems of its own to contend with, he will do everything within his power to help the states overcome their current financial challenges. The governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, said the states never had it so good as now.
We are very lucky to have President Buhari at this time. I have been here now for 7.5 years, and I've had the opportunity to work with 3 presidents. Under the last president, it would be impossible for us to approach Abuja to give us support because we have personal challenges. We'll be given lectures on fiscal responsibility and all those kind of stuff, even though the wastage was more here than any other place at that time. But we have a president who recognized that he is not just president of the federal government, he's the president of the federation, of which the states are part. And regardless of our political affiliation, everybody is able to ask this president to give him support, and is giving across the divide.
The chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum, Governor Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara State, who spoke in the same vein, said the planned implementation of the fiscal restructuring plan will help the states in dealing with the funding problems on short, medium, and long-term basis.
Short term, we are looking at a situation whereby our own funds that are hanging since 2005, line from the Obasanjo exit of Paris Club, some of the money that were not paid, so the state are having their difficulties. So if the state can get 1 or 2 things from there, we'll get relief. So part of the medium term, we're looking how government will look at the revenue mobilization formula on sharing of resources, which is overdue for the past 10 years. And at the same time, we still continue with our program of mining on agriculture, demonstration of economy as a long-term program.
What would be your reaction to the call by the NLC for the increase of the minimum wage at this time?
Well, they are right, because we agree that what we are paying is too small, but they should understand the situation in Nigeria is, because from where we are driving our resources from, it's about 60% lower than what we are earning. So how do you do the magic? But we are going to do our best.
Any day, any time, wake me up, I believe in a living wage.
The governors have also made a case for a moratorium of 18 months as regards the refund of the federal government bailout funds to the states. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Turning to security now, President Muhammadu Buhari has been briefed on the reported violent attacks by suspected herdsmen on Ukwabi Nimbo community in Enugu State by the governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. The governor had a closed-door meeting with the president lasting about 30 minutes, during which they reviewed the security situation in Enugu State and discussed further measures to restore public confidence and forestall future occurrence. The governor spoke to newsmen after the meeting.
My attention has been drawn to an online publication that I called Mr. President, and it kept me for some hours. It's not true. At no point did I call Mr. President or anybody in the presidency for that matter. There was no need. But I'm very happy that Mr. President has directed the Chief of Defense Staff, the IGP, to fish out the culprits and then, of course, safeguard lives and properties. That is the demand of the state. That is what I'm supposed to do as governor. At the moment, we thank God that everything is under control. And that is the situation.
What
Thank
did the president tell you?
Of course, for him to have directed that the culprits be fished out means that he has acted as the CNC, and we're happy about it.
Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi after his meeting with Mr. President. The Inspector General of Police, Solomon Orase, has ordered the construction of a divisional police headquarters at the proposed site of Upologo Uzwani to enhance the security of lives and property there. He gave the directive during a visit to Nimbo Uzwani, the scene of the massacre. Kelechi Ochiagar has that report.
Assessing the damage caused by the suspected herdsmen, the Inspector General of Police promised embarking on a thorough investigation to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
So you can be rest assured that we are going to support you to ensure that police visibility in this area is further enhanced.
The senator representing Enugu North Senatorial Zone, Mr. Chukwuka Otazi, regretted the negative development, urging the people to collaborate with security agencies for a lasting peace. The traditional ruler of Nimbo community, Igwe John Ako, described the incident as an abomination and pleaded for support from the Nigerian police to avert future reoccurrence. Earlier, the Inspector General of Police was received on arrival at the airport by the Commissioner of Police and other police officers in Enugu. Kelechi Ochiara, NTA News.
And the Senate has resolved to conduct a public hearing on the killings by suspected herdsmen in Nimbo community of Enugu State. This followed the adoption of a motion by Senator Chukwuka Utazi. Muhammad Ali reports that other businesses of the Senate were suspended to discuss the matter of national importance.
After an executive session which lasted for about an hour, the Senate opened its door to the media.
Let me report that the Senate, in a closed-door session, deliberated on issues affecting the smooth running of the Senate in particular and the National Assembly in general.
Rising on a matter of urgent national importance, Senator Chukwuka Utazi from Enugu State moved a motion on the attack by suspected herdsmen on Nimbo community of Ozuani local government area of Enugu State.
The towns that harbor these internally displaced are themselves in panic, apprehensive for a possible attack by these marauding herdsmen, while the risk of an outbreak of disease due to the pressure on available facilities in these rural communities is looming.
The motion was widely debated by the senators.
The government has to be up to the task and investigate carefully who are behind these massacres, because it's becoming one too many.
The common Fulani man I know is not so sophisticated to be taking AK-47 and killing people.
The situation did not start today. It started before the advent of this administration. And that was why most of us felt that with the incoming of this new administration, most of this impunity and recklessness should stop.
So I believe it is important that while the executive is also making efforts, as parliamentarians, we must be seen to be doing something, because the people see all of us as being part of government.
The motion was adopted with an 8-point resolution, among which is the composition of a 6-member committee to conduct a public hearing and come up with possible ways of ending such attacks that are becoming regular across the country. From the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali, NTA News.
In a related development, the Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulugambari, has called on the federal government to check the activities of herdsmen in the country to avert further security threats to the nation. He made the call when the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, visited him in his palace. Abdul Hafiz Alaya has that report.
The problem of insecurity, according to Alhaji Ibrahim Sulugambari, is a peculiar challenge all over the world that requires serious attention. The monarch, who decried the increasing rate of clashes between herdsmen and farmers in Nigeria, said government should, as a matter of urgency, stop the activities of marauders who are bent on destroying the nation. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, had earlier in his remarks explained that he is in the state to identify with entrepreneurs who have contributed greatly to the state's and Nigeria's industrialization process.
We are celebrating the entrepreneurship of the Kwara individual in Nigeria who has excelled in areas that we ourselves continue to say we must excel in the area of manufacturing.
The Vice President assured Nigerians of federal government's commitment to support manufacturing sector for economic development. In Ilorin, Abdelaziz Alaya, NTA News.
And elsewhere, the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, says the time has come for the nation to transform brilliant ideas into reality by diligently following up on plans and coming together to achieve objectives. He said this while receiving a delegation of Nigerian chief executive officers who attended the Indian Manufacturing Conclave, an industrial conference last month in New Delhi, India. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo listened to the conference experiences from the trip shared by members of the delegation, including on different sectors and areas of the economy, such as power and energy, ICT, maritime, financing, He called on all Nigerians in their different callings and endeavors to work together, adding that it is the intention of the Buhari presidency to look for ways that the important sectors of our national life will work together and also get key sectors to work together with the government. Besides, the Vice President noted government's determination to encourage made-in-Nigerian products, including electric meters needed for billing. He also encouraged linkages between federal research agencies and industries in order to develop local technological innovations. Earlier, the leader of the delegation, Mr. Osaro Egbabame, commended the government for facilitating a public and private sector's collaboration regarding the conclave in India, and this, according to him, enabled the delegation learn a lot, especially in the areas of ICT, shipbuilding, and using SMEs to grow the economy, among others. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is to investigate public funds and assets recovered from 1999 till date to ensure that they are not misappropriated. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo has more on these and other resolutions.
For many years, past administrations have recovered looted funds from different parts of the world. But unfortunately, some of these funds are perceived not to have been accounted for properly. That is why the House, in a motion moved by Representative Segun Adekola from Ekiti State, resolved to mandate its Committee on Financial Crimes to investigate the state of these funds.
Going by what the Honorable Minister of Justice said, that over 2 trillion has been recovered. What have Nigerians been benefiting from this recovered loot?
The House also resolved to intervene in the 21-day warning strike issued by resident doctors, which expires this week, as moved by Representative Kingsley Chinda from Rivers State.
Motion is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions to continue further engagement.
The motion, moved by Representative Goodluck Nana Opia from Imo State, urged the DSS to release the president of the Nigerian Youth Council, Ugochi Ikenga, who he said was unlawfully arrested, was adopted.
The Speaker, he has been arrested for many days without bail or trial.
Another motion adopted was that by Representative Damboram Abubakar from Kano State, urging the federal government to commiserate with and provide adequate compensation for victims of the recent fire outbreak at the Kurumi Market, Kano. A bill for an act to repeal the National Agricultural Seeds Act of 2004, which was reenacted as the National Agricultural Seed Council 2006, sponsored by Representative Munir Agundi from Kano State, passed for second reading.
In agriculture, before you do anything, seeds is the most important input. If you solve the issue of seeds in terms of quality, then you are solving 50% of the problem.
The National Agricultural Seed Council is not autonomous in nature. It is subjected to the whims and caprices of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. It is not autonomous.
Meanwhile, Representative Baba Farouk from Niger State has tendered apology to members for the interview he granted to BBC Hausa language channel, where he said he was misquoted as saying that all members received 100 million naira each from the federal government for constituency development. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Turning to culture, President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration has confidence in the culture and tourism sector as an avenue to positively engage a huge segment of the nation's citizenry in growing the economy. He stated this in a message to the opening of the 2016 National Summit on Culture and Tourism in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Assumption of office, the present administration's resolve to diversify the economy and make it less dependent on oil, culture and tourism has been a sector whose potentials came under spotlight, which has culminated into this summit. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, said he is determined to remove Nigeria from a mono-economic nation.
One of the most remarkable traits of development since the middle of the 20th century has been the mobilization of culture and tourism as a preferred form of economic development at local, regional, and national levels.
The sector President Muhammadu Buhari also noted is a unifier and a platform upon which unity can be cemented.
Tourism also has the capacity to assist the world inhabitants to live better together and thereby contribute to peaceful coexistence between peoples and cultures.
To the private sector, President Muhammadu Buhari enjoined them to key into government's resolve to boost the sector by investing passionately to achieve a positive change. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said Nigeria is partnering with global bodies in the sector to ensure that all key components that make up for the sector are not left out.
Which is to, in practical terms, move away from paying lip service to these sectors in order to harness their potentials. We are happy to announce that there has been a major boost to our efforts to develop tourism in Nigeria.
There were goodwill messages from the United Nations World Tourism Organization and British Council. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And still on the Culture Summit, the huge potentials of the culture and tourism industry were on display at the sidelines at the ongoing Culture and Tourism Summit in Abuja. Elizabeth Bano, who visited some of the exhibition stands, now reports.
On display at the exhibition stands by the parastatals under the Ministry of Information and Culture were artworks such as paintings, sculptures, leatherworks and textiles depicting the diverse cultures of the Nigerian people. Patience Odo from Abia State caught our attention. She has been in the Akwete cloth weaving business since childhood and has been reaping the benefits until the economic crunch hit the country.
Every Akwete woman and young girls has helped us to assist our husbands in upbringing of the children and running of the family.
For Taye Olani, public office holders should be in the forefront of promoting Nigeria's traditional attires.
Politicians, they are a kind of a good spectrum because by their hearts and their babanriga and all the rest of it, you can know them. But directly or indirectly, it may be a sign of we have arrived. That is the impression they may have. But people like us will see that at least we don't see too many of them in suits.
A creative people with dynamic youths, Nigeria's variety of tourism and cultural attributes, when fully developed, experts say, can indeed provide the much-needed second stream of income for the country.
We need to emphasize training. It has to become mandatory. It has to be regulated so that people understand that it's not an all-comers affair. We need skilled hands to manage this. This is bigger than oil.
In Abuja, I'm Elizabeth Banu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Elizabeth, for bringing us the side shows. Are you stressed in the workplace? We'll tell you the way out in the second part of the bulletin. Do stay with us.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words: run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation, because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
As the sun rises over the hills of Abuja, so too dawns a new way of life and exquisite standard of living. Enjoy your own originally designed and quality-built home in the serene and secure environment of Sunrise Hills. Experience this uplifting lifestyle with breathtaking views of the city. Rise above. Sunrise Hills is unlike anything you've ever seen before. A new new way of life is dawning in the heart of Nigeria.
Jennifer, where's my money? I never have it. So you have money to buy recharge card when you are still owing me happy? I haven't bought me. It's only 200 naira recharge card I buy. Just wait and let me come back. You will see. Where will I come and found this game money now? I used to call my mother. I need the money.
This is Honorable's wife.
Who is this?
Forget flavor, hada, colabout stew, price, has, hada.
Yes, uncle, I have bank account.
Get more for free on every 100 naira recharge. Enjoy 400 naira talk time to call all networks, plus 75 megabytes of ultra high-speed data worth 300 naira, which includes 25 megabytes data free to give someone. No mago. Dial *303 hash to subscribe to Glow Talk Special.
You back?
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
What happened? It was a mosquito. Oh, Daddy, here.
What's happening here?
Mama, mosquitoes.
I sprayed, but the mosquitoes aren't dying. No longer, because I've bought Maritime Power Guard, which kills 100% mosquitoes. Maritime Power Guard kills 100% mosquitoes.
VAT, Value Added Tax, is a tax paid on all goods and services and remitted by the seller of the goods or provider of the service to government. 5% VAT is added to the total cost of goods and services in Nigeria, and when remitted to government, is used for funding development. The VAT you pay will be used by government to develop our transport infrastructure, like roads and railway lines, to continually improve our educational sector by building more schools and upgrading existing ones, to provide adequate security and a better quality of life for us all. Pay your VAT. Make your contributions to the development of Nigeria. It pays to pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
We must remain steadfast in our commitment to steer this country back to greatness.
He is one of the best brands that we have as a country, and we have to take advantage of that.
Look inwards and see how we'll be able to enhance our resources.
The problem now of Nigeria is man-made. It's just a question of patience and cooperate with the government. Nigeria will go back to those better days.
The man who's leading us, he wouldn't talk much, but he does a lot.
We shall deliver security, jobs, and infrastructure. This is the right of all Nigerians. Our actions will speak for us.
Thanks for being there, and we begin this segment with the Judiciary. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Justice Danladi Umar, has dismissed the motion filed by the Senate President, Abubakar Bukola Saraki, seeking to disqualify him from further participating in the trial over an allegation of bias. Aliu Tukur has the details.
Ruling on the motion,
Justice Umar held that the application lacks merit as the bribe allegation raised by the defendant has already been settled via a letter since March 2015 by the EFCC, which investigated the matter. Counsel who filed the motion said he will appeal the ruling. The chairman also dismissed another application filed by counsel to the defense, Paul Osoro, challenging the legality of the prosecution to amend the charges earlier brought against Saraki. Based on the amended charge, the Senate President pleaded not guilty to all the 16 new charges instead of 13, which was filed earlier by the prosecution. Following the amendment of the charge, the defense team also filed for 3 weeks adjournment to enable the team consult their client. Arguing the application, Paul Osoro pointed out that there are 3 additional charges and even the existing ones have been altered. This, he said, will require time to enable the defense respond to these charges. This application was countered by prosecution counsel Rotimi Jacobs that the defense had already been granted 5 adjournments before. Therefore, they can only get 7 days as required by the law.
But one thing strikes me, it does look as if, based on the cross-examination that we're doing, that's precisely why the prosecution decides to amend their charges.
As at then we filed those charges, in the course of evidence, we discover a lot of facts that require amendment, particularly the salary.
Ruling on the application, the chairman of the tribunal said, in view of the amendment of the charge, the tribunal, in its effort to strike balance among both parties, has adjourned the case to Tuesday the 10th of next month. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
In moving on to other reports, the federal government has declared Monday, the 2nd of May 2016, as a public holiday to commemorate the 2016 Workers' Day celebration. Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Bello Dambazao, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulated Nigerian workers for their resilience, hard work and commitment to the change mantra of President Muhammadu Buhari despite current challenges. He enjoined them to continue to support the president in his desire to fight corruption, ensure security of lives, reduce poverty and stabilize the economy through the creation of jobs and diversification of the economy. General Dambazao further urged Nigerian workers to rededicate themselves to the service of the nation and remain productive for the growth and development of the country. And turning to health now, the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has reaffirmed her commitment to remain steadfast in addressing the health challenges faced by women and children in Nigeria. Mrs. Buhari stated this at the official flag-off of the Free Health Screening Initiative. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir has that report.
The Future Assured initiative of the wife of the president is aimed at improving the health status of women, youth and children in Nigeria. The program in Ibadan targeted at 2,500 women. The focus was on blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks, breast examination and cervical cancer screening, as well as malaria tests, while urging all stakeholders to come on board in achieving the goals of the Future Assured program. The wife of the president, who was accompanied by some of the wives of the governors and other dignitaries, said the initiative is part of her effort at complementing government decision in providing healthcare services to the citizens of the country.
This exercise is also intended to raise awareness on the importance of regular medical checks. This initiative will contribute to attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs 3, in particular, which is about ensuring healthy lives and promoting the well-being of all.
The idea of the exercise, the wife of the president explained, is to encourage women to come out for screening for early detection and to engage on self-examination, which she said will go a long way in reducing the dangers of the diseases.
Let me at this point call on the entire citizens of this country to be proactive in seeking medical attention by going to health facilities for regular medical checkups.
The Oyo State Governor, Abiola Ajimobi, promised the wife of the president of his continued support in achieving the objectives of the exercise.
it will benefit millions and millions of people in Oyo State as well as in Nigeria in general.
The wife of the governor assured the wife of the president of her readiness to take the program to all the local government areas for the benefit of the people of the state.
We as women must begin to take charge of our lives and our health, as this is important in achieving our overall agenda of gender parity and women emancipation.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed their happiness with the gesture. They described it as unprecedented. In Ibadan, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
April 28th every year is marked as World Day for Safety and Health at Work. The annual event seeks to address work-related accidents, diseases, and death, a situation observers say must be prevented. Labour correspondent Emmanuel Ayimero reports that this year's focus is workplace stress, a collective challenge.
Loss of human life is the ultimate cause of work-related accidents and diseases.
This lamentation and many more are what many workers are subjected to due to the conditions and demands of modern working life. Our United Nations report estimates that over 2 million men and women lose their lives through accident and diseases yearly due to work-related stress. How to safeguard and not to endanger workers' health is the take-home from this awareness program.
Employers should assess the workplace for the risk of stress, for its effective management and control.
Securing safe workplaces extends beyond the protections of workers' physical safety to their mental and psychological well-being.
We must know what constitutes a safe workplace, and then there has to be education, both in terms of public awareness and also at factory levels.
Stress management is very, very important as far as productivity improvement effort is concerned.
Risk assessment were conducted for participants through medical checks to determine their health status and work stress, with results showing alarming high blood pressure and work stress. In Abuja, Emmanuel Ayimero, NTA News.
And to a bit of politics. The Northeast is to produce the next national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The chairman of the party, Ali Modu Sharif, made this known at the end of the 70th National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi has the report.
Addressing journalists after a closed-door meeting of the National Executive Council, the national chairman said the party will follow due process in electing leaders into various positions. Although details of the zoning was not made available, the chairman says a body has been inaugurated to, among other things, review the party's constitution and ensure a hitch-free convention scheduled to hold in Port Harcourt, Rivers State on the 21st of May 2016.
We have put our house in order and we are ready to face all the challenges that are ahead.
Other party stalwarts have appealed to their members to be more committed and unite to redeem the lost glory of PDP.
We are bound to have disagreements and agreements on issues, but once the party takes any position as party members and team players, we are bound to follow the decision of the party.
PDP is the only party in Nigeria where you can say belongs to everyone and belongs to no one.
From the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Still on the polity, the Senators Forum has described the increasing rate of kidnapping in the country as not only barbaric, but a criminal attack on the nation's well-being and integrity. The chairperson of the forum, Khairat Abdurazak Gwadabe, stated this while briefing newsmen on the recent abduction of Senator Iyabo Anishilowo in Enugu State. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The forum, as a union for both serving and non-serving senators, says it is outraged by the incessant kidnapping activities across the country. The recent one was that of a former senator, Iyabo Anike Anisulowo, on her way from the farm in Yewa North, Ogun State.
The Senators Forum wishes to call on all the security agencies to intensify their efforts to rescue Senator Iyabo Anishulowo from the hands of our abductors safely, and to ensure that a proper protective mechanism is put in place against incessant kidnapping that is plaguing our nation today.
The forum says all hands should be on deck to arrest the situation. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps has declared that the Peace Ambassador number plates are illegal and warned all vehicle owners using them to desist from such acts or have their vehicles impounded and face prosecution. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyeyemi made this known at a workshop organized for Motor Licensing Authority officials in Abuja. Aliu Tukur reports.
Vehicles number plate continue to be indiscriminately issued without recourse to registering the data, thereby making it difficult for vehicles and their owners to be identified. With little over 3 million registered vehicles across the country since the commencement of the production of new number plates in 2011, the Corps Marshal said the FRSC will soon start capturing all vehicles plying the nation's highway in order to have a comprehensive database that will aid in policy making and enhance national security. He also warned the public to desist from using the Peace Ambassador number plate as it is not issued by any state.
The Corps has never approved nor authorized these Peace Ambassador number plates. They are illegal. They are fake number plates. Anybody who has a Peace Ambassador number plate is an illegal number plate, is not authorized, and is criminal.
The workshop, which drew participants across the country, was organized to strengthen the capacity of the personnel in order to give quality service delivery. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
An anti-piracy bill to domicile the power of prosecution of pirates and those engaged in other criminality on the country's waterways and maritime domain of NIMASA is underway. Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dakuku Peterside, disclosed this during an advocacy visit to the chiefs of Army, Air Force and the Navy in Abuja. Defense correspondent KG Busari Ahmed was there.
Not less than 80% of the world's trade is carried out globally on the high sea. This signifies the important role the sea plays in the economic development of many nations, including Nigeria, which her maritime sector accounts for a substantial amount of her gross domestic product, GDP. Of recent, especially from January 2016, there have been serious upsurge in criminalities on her waterways, which experts say is threatening to the economic growth of the country. This trend may have spurred the new chief executive of NIMASA to seek for collaboration with the three arms of the Nigerian military.
The weak point of this fight against pirates appears to be prosecution. That for as long as we don't have successful prosecution, there will be incentives for these criminals to continue.
We already have some platforms, maritime patrol airplanes, that we are working to make sure that we support their operations in NIMASA. In addition to that, we also have the UAV program.
We've also set up a task group which is patrolling out there, and we intend to have that task group at sea for about 90 days to be able to suppress the activities of these criminals.
The need for us to protect such facilities is timely. The Nigerian Army will partner with you strategically as requested.
The last memorandum of understanding between the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and the military has since expired. However, there are indicators that it might soon be revived. KG Busari Ahmed, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News, and it's that time when we join our Lagos Network Center for contributions from that zone. Jennifer is our guide. Good evening, Jennifer.
Thank you, Fumi. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. Industrial pharmacists have set an agenda for capacity building in the workplace leveraging on technology. This was at a conference organized by the Association of Industrial Pharmacists of Nigeria. The summit dwelt on effective strategies to curtailing challenges confronting the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. Kenny Beluge reports.
The importance of workplace development in any organization cannot be overemphasized. This is because it entails training programs that provide existing and potential workers with the requisite skills to complete tasks needed by employers to let the organizations stay competitive in a global marketplace. The conference seeks to develop a deep understanding of industry dynamics and specific competitive situations. This is with a view to maintaining a sustainable competitive economic development.
For our members to be optimal in what they do and do it very well as expected, there is need for them to be able to come up with new competencies that will be good to be able to produce the best result in this time of change.
They need to develop a viable and very strong workforce to be able to overcome the challenges and take advantage of the opportunities that abound in the environment.
Former Nigeria High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Dr. Christopher Kolade, enjoined members of the Association of Industrial Pharmacists of Nigeria to be agents of change.
To make sure that the stakeholders, the people who are going to be beneficiaries of the service that we render, receive from us service of the highest quality.
In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
This is still the NTA Network News. We'll take some commercial messages at this point. The news returns to Abuja with Fumi shortly. Stay with us.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Umaru, you need to give me discounts on this coupon. Abi now. This is supposed.
On our business news now fills us in.
A warm welcome to the business news segment at this hour. Stakeholders in cowpea production and marketing have called on the federal government to give attention to the crop, which is capable of generating about $500 billion annually in foreign revenue. At a forum in Abuja, the leadership of the association drew attention to the versatility of the crop.
United Nations, UNICEF buys from other countries, and ours is the best beans worldwide. It's a very, very vital ground to replace oil.
Non-oil export, especially the agricultural side, can bring in between $250 to even $500 billion, if well harnessed.
Meanwhile, the Federation of Agricultural Commodity of Nigeria has identified a review of the nation's forex policy as critical to boosting exports of agricultural produce. And now to the capital market. Domestic investors outperformed foreign investors by 28.48% on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange in the month of March 2016. Total foreign portfolio investment transaction in equity decreased from 36.4% to 35.76%. Meanwhile, stocks on the Nigerian Stock Exchange regained patronage Thursday as the all-share index closed positive, appreciating by 0.60%. The volume traded also moved up by 18.57% as against a 34.50% gain recorded in the previous session. That wraps business news at this hour. The news continues.
And a one-day public hearing for a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Act has been held, with some stakeholders applauding the move, and others describing it as a breach of the initial agreement with the nation's foreign investors. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Izumba has details.
Seeks to empower the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited to make statutory contributions to the Niger Delta Development Commission Fund to help reduce the sufferings of the people in the Niger Delta region. Minority Whip Yakubu Bade, who stood in for the Speaker Yakubu Dogara, reiterated the National Assembly's commitment to guard the nation's wealth and ensure that it is not shortchanged by any existing law, agreements or understanding.
The exclusive economic zone of Nigeria shall vest the government of the Federation and shall be managed in such a manner as may be prescribed by the National Assembly.
Section 7 or any other provisions of this Act, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited shall pay 3% of its total annual budget to the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC Fund.
The Managing Director, Nigeria LNG Limited, Babs Omotowa, believes contributing to NDDC is outside the company's mandates as it makes other contributions to the nation and also pays tax.
Therefore, this amendment being contemplated is exactly against what the National Assembly had protected NLNG against as a promise to attract the huge investments.
This culture has greatly affected the Niger Delta Development Commission negatively.
NLNG has not been part of the problem. NLNG has been part of the solution.
Now that there's need to amend it, they need to convince us.
And NLNG are not good corporate citizens to the landowners and their landlords.
To Frederick Agbedi, Chairman House Committee on Gas Resources, the committee will assess contributions by all stakeholders and make appropriate recommendations. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Izumba, NT News.
Up ahead, remains of late social activist Tunji Braithwaite laid to rest. Details when we come back.
To keep my family healthy, I take time to make everything look clean.
Yes, but is it really clean? Let me show you. This is why 80% of hygiene-related illnesses are acquired at home. Some cleaners don't kill germs, others kill germs, but don't clean properly. The new Dettol Multi-Surface Cleaner. 10 times better germ kill, 10 times better cleaning, and all-day freshness. 10 times better cleaning and germ kill for a healthy home.
Dettol, endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Buy the new Dettol 55-gram soap for 80 Naira only. Keep your family protected from germs.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
You're still watching the NTA Network News. President Jacob Zuma confers national honor on Winnie Mandela. Plus, Venezuelans begin referendum to oust President Nicolas Maduro. These and more on Global Tidbits with Talatu Ezurike.
Nelson Mandela's ex-wife Winnie is being honored in South Africa for her excellent contribution to the fight for the liberation of the people. In Ghana, the country's Electoral Commission begins a nationwide voters registration for first-time voters. More than 1.2 billion people are expected to be registered within 10 days. From Egypt, police officers suspended and investigated for allegedly shooting and wounding a minibus driver in Cairo. Similarly, the United Nations has said that the situation in Syria's city of Aleppo is catastrophic following attacks on targets, including a hospital that has claimed many lives. Elsewhere, Venezuelans opposed to President Nicolas Maduro have started gathering signatures for a recall referendum. The president, however, dismissed the move. And stars bid farewell to popular rumba musician Papa Wemba in a free all-night concert in Abuja, Côte d'Ivoire, where he died. Meanwhile, his body has been flown to his home country, DR Congo, for burial. That is all on Global Tidbits. Talati Zavike, NTA News.
And next is Kene Imabudike with sports update.
In the Dayak Tennis Championship, which maiden edition went underway Sunday in Abuja, the number 3 seed defeated Tom Bim Tennis Open winner Vanda Duma Antals.
Weather forecast from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. We expect Sokoto axis to be under partly cloudy conditions, while areas around Katsina, Nguru and Maiduguri axis should expect sunny and hazy conditions. The central cities down to the south should